You know what's funny to me? What's funny to me is how some Jamaicans leave Jamaica, or some people leave the Caribbean island or the part of Africa or wherever they live, and they go to other people's country, right? And then they swear that everybody there loves them or that they are so welcomed. I've had Jamaicans in the United States of America telling me, why are you bringing up color? Color has nothing to do with it. And I have to really look at them, you know, when the situation clearly says that someone is being treated a certain way because of the color of their skin, and others who are not their color get better treatment. And we come here.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I hope you're all doing fine. Have you ever asked yourself why the world hates black people so much? Why the world hates Caribbeans, Jamaicans so much? Why the world do not want to see Africans develop or make it in life? So let's watch this video, then have a quick discussion at the end of it.
And some of us assimilate into their culture and really take the other side. This story right here is one of the reasons why I love Jamaica, and I make sure I make it back to Jamaica as quickly as possible and as many times as possible, as often as possible. Injured Jamaican man living in France alleges that the attack that was done on him was racially motivated. Alright, my SoFlo TV audience, anybody who knows me knows that I come from the rural parts of Jamaica where it's dark in those hills. And from I was a child until now, government still has not installed any street lights in some of the darkest corners of Jamaica. But guess what? We are doing it for ourselves. Just link up with Soninka Limited, because these solar powered street lights are powerful. They are commercial grade, remote controlled, they are waterproof, and did I mention that they are solar powered? So you don't have to wait on JPS, you don't have a bill to pay. These are powered by God's Son. Yes, and you stay on the ground and you remote control it to the brightness of your liking and all these things. Light up your lanes and streets and farms and corners and areas and be safe. All the information needed is on the screen, and Soninka deals with your installation and everything. Call them right now and get yourself out of the darkness and into the light, and tell them that SoFlo TV sent you. Alright? Alright. Them thump the man in him face and swell up him eye. You understand? But this article ran in the Loop in Jamaica, and it was published June 16th of 2024. But I'll give you the article along with my own feelings about things, right? Or my own commentary then. So as the world gaze shift to France next month for the eagerly anticipated games, the Olympics, it was a fractured view last week for a Spanish Jamaican living in a European nation who was left nursing a bloodied eye after what he deemed a racially motivated attack. His name is Sehan Thompson. Sehan Thompson who has called France home for the past 6 years. He was struck in the face by a man who was chilling with a group of friends at a number of about 6 people in the wee hours of the morning of June 8th in the city of Rennes, where Thompson resides. Now, the attackers, the group had 3 women and 3 men, and it is said that the attackers were the ones that provoked the incident. This is what Thompson claimed. So Thompson said that Thompson, by the way, is a freelance business development consultant with World Beat Music Group, and he's also a volunteer ambassador for EU4UA.org, which is a non-profit organization that is dedicated to assisting displaced Ukrainians who are in need of housing. I have so many questions. You know, like, first of all, you are a non-profit organization volunteer dedicated to assisting displaced Ukrainians in need of housing. It just doesn't fit the person who is doing this. And I know some of us, but let me be raw and just say it. You couldn't find something to do with involve your own people them and uplifting and bettering your own people them and volunteering for their cause. Ukrainian people, them yeah try. But anyhow, humans are humans regardless, right? And we try to help wherever we can across the world. So hail up to him for that. Now, as I cross the one-way street on Rue de la Monnaie to the other pedestrian sidewalk, passing all the pedestrians, one male attacker made a remark that I was too close to them. And we were all moving westward in the same direction, so I found it odd that he made that comment right after pushing me. After I push him said, "Move, you're too close to me." Thompson, who holds dual Jamaican and Spanish citizenship, I don't know what kind of Spanish citizenship. I'm thinking a nation that is Hispanic. He holds citizenship for, but in the article it says he holds Spanish citizenship. I don't know of any country named Spanish, but okay. He said that he stopped to ask why he was shoved and retaliated by pushing back his alleged aggressor. Them push me push them back. That's only normal, right? Now, in response to pushing them back, they all cornered me against a wall in front of a store where there are cameras, and one of the men then delivered a blow to my left eye, causing severe injuries. Them thump him in I'm yai. During this assault, they made comments about my skin color, stating that I was from Mali, Africa. I managed to free myself from the corner and I took out my cell phone to start recording. Boy, that's your first mistake, brother. Me not record nothing. Me I kill people out there, but anyhow. He took out his cell phone to start recording, and one of the women in the group sarcastically remarked and said, "Il parle," meaning he speaks. Thompson recounted. Another woman mocked me by saying, "Appelez la police," all the police, and jokingly covered her eye. Two of the men shielded themselves from being recorded, while the other male shouted to the others, "Let's go." Eventually, one of the women knocked the phone out of my hand to stop recording. They all fled the scene after the incident. Now, with the Jamaican familial roots in Trelawney and St. James, the long since relocated Thompson, which means him left Jamaica long ago, who has also lived in the United States of America, he has also lived in England, and he has also lived in Scotland. He told the news media that he made a report to the Rennes police, but prior to doing so, he sought some emotional release through online community in the immediate aftermath of the incident. He said that having knowledge of the police system in France, I knew that the officers would not arrive at the scene immediately. It was going to take some time. And the attackers, they had already fled, and I quickly turned to social media for help, using Facebook Live for the very first time. The presence of our viewers made me feel more secure as I explained the situation, he said. You know, in modern days times, a lot of people turn to social media because that's just how the world has turned. You know, I see people saying, take your business off social media, or why people choose to post everything on social media. But in reality, some people don't have anybody else to turn to, so they turn to social media. You understand? And luckily for them, social media can be bad and good, but take the good from the bad. There are going to be comments that you don't like, and then there are going to be those who are sympathetic to your plight that you're going through, and some people, they internalize your pain, empaths, and they give you genuine and good feedback, you know, that you can gauge off of. Just something to lift your morale even, or something to make you feel like you're not in the world alone. That's just how it goes. I mean, one time gone, we had to meet somebody in person, exchange phone numbers. We're using a pen and a paper to write down numbers, right? Those days are gone. Now you just slide into somebody's DM. That's social media. You meet somebody online. You look at somebody's profile. You like them. You go into their inbox. If they like you back, you schedule a date. Next thing you know, you're dating. Next thing you know, you're sexually involved. Next thing you know, a whole relationship develops from it. That's the new world. It's also the new world to put business on social media. So he went to social media, trying to get some support because he felt alone. Now, continuing, the 47-year-old Thompson said, I knew the location of the main police station in Rennes, which stated online that it was open 24 hours. So I headed there while I was on Facebook Live. However, when I arrived, I found a sign there indicating that it wouldn't be open until 8:30 a.m. So I repeatedly pressed the call button, and shortly after, four officers arrived in a minivan. I told them what had happened to me and expressed my need to file a report. They informed me that due to my injuries, I needed to be seen by emergency medical staff and I couldn't file a report until 8:30 a.m. anyways. The emergency crew arrived and I was taken to the hospital for treatment. At the hospital, my injuries were assessed visually without any x-rays and I was prescribed paracetamol and ice. Thompson recounted, I returned home and I filed an online report on Saturday, June 8, 2024 at 10 a.m. Notice he said he was visually assessed. No x-ray was done to see if his eye socket was broken. His eye is swollen shut. And they gave him paracetamol and ice and sent him home. Right? Now on June 10th of 2024 at 10:20 a.m. I received an email from the police station instructing me that I needed to come directly to the police station with evidence to file the report in person because the online report that I had filed was cancelled. I went to the station and I filed an official report at 3:08 p.m. Thompson said that he has experienced this type of racially motivated behavior at least 5 times before. However, none of them had actually resulted in physical injury until this one. In each, yeah man, I saw no stay there until them hurt on, right? Some people brush it off, take it lightly, but I mean, what are you gonna do, right? What are you going to do? These are the dangers, and I'm not blaming the guy who got hit in the face. I'm just saying that these are the dangers of living abroad, right? As opposed to living at home where there are more people like you. And I've never encountered this type of stuff in Jamaica. Now, in each of these instances, he said, I was provoked, teased, and pushed simply for being in a place where they preferred I was not present there. Wow. Nobody has ever done any of that to me in any part of Jamaica, and I've been in all parts of Jamaica, right? Or almost all parts of Jamaica. People are push you, tease you, provoke you, and telling you you don't belong right here. Outraged, but not entirely surprised by the reported attacks on Thompson is another person, a woman called Nazila Mace Dumontet. Nazila Mace Dumontet is the vice president of Jamin France, a non-profit organization that promotes brand Jamaica in France and assists Jamaicans there to transition to a life in the European state. Racism is very subtle in France, Mace Dumontet said before sharing a domestic incident with her then white husband years earlier. So she was obviously married to a white man from France. She is a black woman and she is now living over there and helping other Jamaicans to settle into a life in France. And she's recounting her own incident where that left her with blood running down her face. And police officers responding to the domestic call of her obviously white husband abusing her to where blood was running down her face, and they came and they told her that she would need to leave the home. That was the solution. Not to take the man to the station, she said. Now, referencing the early morning incident involving Thompson against a backdrop of a recent rise in anti-immigrant policies by right-wing governments in some quarters across Europe, and with an expected influx of Jamaicans who are flying into France in July for the Paris Olympics, Mace Dumanet cautioned. Boy, you know, some things enough of them Jamaicans that are flying into France for the Olympics. Some of them not coming back, but but okay. Anyhow, they should always be aware of their surroundings. It's the same everywhere, but with political tensions high and the Olympics coming up, fascists and racists feel like they are powerful. Be especially mindful of groups and try not to walk alone. A further recommended course of action should a visiting Jamaican happen to encounter a physical attack, she said. She's giving you some advice on how to stay safe if you visit France. Mace Domontet put the news people, Loot News, in touch with a Jamaican chef and a musician who was victims of a gang attack after only their first month of living in France. Requesting to be anonymous, he related that the incident occurred in September back in 2021.
Brothers and sisters, there has been so much hatred on black people. And the question is, why do people hate black people? People of other colors, they hate people of color. They hate black people. And this has been happening for the longest time. And this is the time we should know the truth. Most of us who are watching this video are people who believe in religion. And if you're a Christian, you might agree with me at one point that the Bible says, truth saves man free. And the truth lowers the burden of doubt. And they say the truth to live for long. Now, brothers and sisters, black people have been racially profiled and segregated for the longest time. Black people have faced so many atrocities in this world we live in. Even in the 21st century, the same things still happen. Why do people hold so much hatred on Jamaicans, Caribbeans, Africans, and all those other people who come from South America? Now, we've known black people to be people of resilience, people who have actually shown resilience in one of the most difficult moments in the world. However much they do associate black men with illiteracy, but black people have shown much wisdom when it comes to hard times. Now, black brothers and sisters, black people are actually achieving a lot in the world we live right now. Some people thought that we are so much illiterate, or we are so much slow and we can't learn anything, that black people are born stupid or fools in a way, that black people do not deserve the best in this world. But guess what? The black people have gone ahead to break all the barriers. In fact, they have made it in life. We see now one of the most successful generation or races is now the black man. The black man has occupied every part of this world, and they have succeeded in whatever circumstances they are. Now, let me drop you back to 300 years back or 400 years back. During the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, black people were taken from Africa as slaves for the white people. Now, these black people were majorly taken to South America and others in Europe. Now, 300 years later, these people thought maybe they're gonna use black people, then after that they'll kill all of them after achieving whatever they wanted, or they will always make sure that black man is enslaved and they work for them in their plantations and in their farms as slaves. Year come, year go. Later on, after they have achieved all that, in fact, it is through the black people's labor, the Indians' labor, that Europe and the US has the success it has right now. The Industrial Revolution in Europe and in US was actually triggered by the black people. Now, back to whatever I was saying. They went ahead and tried to hide the black history. They went ahead and tried to kill black people. But God has always protected black people. Allah has always protected black people. Now see, black people still exist in Europe. They still exist in the US, South America. Long 300 years later in the 21st century, and they're actually doing well. We've seen black people, one of the greatest footballers in the world. We've seen black people making it way better in the Olympics. We've seen black people in politics. We've seen one of the greatest musicians in the US and in the world. The rappers are black people. One of the best philosophers, one of the best historians are actually black people. But these people have actually been through a very rough environment. Now, let me take you back to the Caribbean. Those who do not have a clue of whatever happened in the Caribbean and why we have many black people in the Caribbean. Now, during 1970s and 1600 and 1700, black people, after being taken from Africa, they were shipped to that part of the island. Now, they thought getting them into an island will make it easy for them not to run, to escape. Like if you are having plans to escape, it was going to be very hard for you. So the better thing, or the best thing they could do, put them on an island, and whenever they need them, they just come with a ship or a boat, take them, they go work, then come back to this island. They thought the black people won't survive this. But don't we have Caribbeans who are black people? Go to Jamaica, Dominican Republic. Now, go to Guyana, Cayman's Island, St. Kitts, Antigua, all these countries that I'm mentioning, Haiti, Cuba. I'm mentioning these countries because these countries have black people as a result of slave trade. So black people have actually managed to survive the weather, the bad and the most atrocious moments in their history. They actually survived. They were being whipped, being denied food. They went hungry for the longest time. But God, Lord, kept them safe. Allah kept them safe. And that's why, brothers and sisters, there is history that defines black people in the diaspora as the real Israelites. And a black man, the black people, are actually the people in the Bible. Now, those people, if you know something about King James Version, and most of Christians read King James Version, you should go actually and dig deep into the history of this. You are going to realize that King James wanted the Bible to be written in his own way, to be translated in his own way. In that's why it's called King James Version. It's the version of him. He wanted the Bible to be translated that way. So many things were omitted that were related to black history. And black history since then has been altered. That's why now black brothers and sisters, they do not even allow us to teach ourselves about black history. And why black people are now talking to you right now? We've ignored our own history. Now, look, in our schools, we learn about Sir Columbus, a very biased historian who wrote so many things against black people. Now, he discovered our lands. He discovered everything about us. Now, we are learning their history. Come to my country, we learn their history. Go to Nigeria, go to any other part of Africa. We learn things about Europe and how is Europe helpful to us. We learn things about the US, Japan. How are those countries helpful to us? They are not helpful in any way. So, brothers and sisters, this is the time we should embrace our own history. Let's come together, learn about our own history. Let's not be lured around learning about things that are not important. And that's why they are very much okay when we learn their history, because they know they're hiding some things and they may not want us to know. When we go dig deep into our history, we are going to find so many things that are hidden that our generation should actually know. The story of Black Jesus, for example, it's never told. And when it's coming out that Jesus was black, and indeed he came from black generation, because the Bible defines him as an olive man. His color was olive, and we only have green and black olive. So, do you expect Jesus to have been green? They have painted all those pictures. Now, go to all Catholic churches. I do not condemn Catholic churches, but go to their churches. You will see a picture of white Maria, a picture of white Jesus, white Joseph, and all those things. And we do bow down and we pray as if we are much okay with that. It's not okay. We've been lied to. This is the time we should find ourselves, find our history, and start learning about it. Let's teach our history to our own kids. We are getting lost because somewhere in our upbringing there was a mistake. Somewhere in our history there was a mistake. We are learning a very distorted history. How about we dig and write our own history? Let's dig in our own history. Let's come out with books that will help us and our generations to learn whatever happened to our grandfathers, that happened to our ancestors, instead of learning farming in Netherlands. How is that going to help Kenya? How is that going to help Nigeria? How is that going to help Jamaica, Guyana, or the Caribbean? It's not going to help in any way. They did this so that we focus less on less important things. We focused most on less important things. And those things that matter a lot to us are left behind. This is the time, black brothers and sisters. Let's wake up from the slumber. Let's talk unity. Jamaicans, Haitians, Barbados people, all the Caribbean, Africa, South America, let's talk in one voice. All those black brothers and sisters in the diaspora in the UK, Canada, US, all these countries, let's talk one language. We've always been disunited. We are not united. We've been divided for the longest time. This is the time we should get united, speak one language actually. Let's dig deep into our history. Let's tell our children about our history, not their history, not whatever they wrote for us in the books. If you believe in Sir Columbus books, history books, then you are lost. That guy was so biased. He wrote so many things to condemn black people, and he was an agent of white supremacy. And that's why they actually advise us to learn about history with Sir Columbus books. And in our universities and in our systems, we are actually being taught about their own history. Now, it's very difficult living in Europe and some other parts of this world, but I want to do my focus today on Europe. And we know there's these notable countries that are very, very engaged with racism. These countries that have always been associated with racism. Now, let me talk about this. Now, we have all known that France is one of those countries that have black people, and Germany, and some other countries too, UK, and some other that I won't be able to mention here. But to be more precise and to be more clear, I want to talk about France and Germany today, and the UK, because I've seen a larger number of people from Africa and the Caribbean going there to look for a life. Now, in France, there has been systematic racism that no one wants to address, and this one has taken long. This actually has been like a norm in this country, and we have seen it. Now, there is a video I once shared about an MP who comes from Africa. He is a black guy from Africa, but he's a French guy. Now, he has the French citizenship. Now, this guy was harassed in parliament in front of all those cameras. They didn't even shy off. Now, some of the MPs shouted at him, "Go back to Africa." Now, that really brought a bigger debate. It actually got so many people talking about it. what's the fate of the black people in these white countries? Now, apart from that, we've seen how the police officers use excess power while arresting black people. We've seen how the cases that are associated with black people, how do they end, how they usually end. They actually do not end in a good way. Now, I once shared a video of a guy who was arrested and taken to court, then criminalized, then taken to jail for having done absolutely nothing. Then years later, 17 years later, he was found not guilty of doing that. He was found innocent. Now, this guy's life was messed up, and it's not just one. There are so many people whose lives have been messed up by this systematic racism. Now, talking about Germany. Germany is one of the most industrialized countries in the world. Those countries that have actually developed. Now they're chasing their bigger economies, chasing the likes of US, Japan, and China. Now, in Germany, systematic racism still continues. Now, a friend once shared with me that in Germany, a public car can even deny the chance for a black guy to board just because of the color. This says a lot. This says how much we've failed to fight racism in our countries. Now, when you come to our black countries, now go to Jamaica, you will find so many white people in Jamaica. You will find so many Chinese people in Jamaica, but they are treated well. How about our own people who are in their countries? How do they treat them? So bad. This says actually a lot. It says a lot that however much we've tried to balance things, however much we try to humble ourselves and make ourselves busy and important to some people, it has always failed, and it has always come to back as a very bad thing. Now, I'm actually talking this out of emotions because it's not good to see brothers and sisters in the diaspora going through all these things just because someone else was told a lie about them, that black people are not good, they are not competent enough, black people are aggressive. It's so bad. This actually pisses me off. It pisses me off, and it pisses me off.